It is really, really sad, not only as to say this as an American, but also to say this as a person of faith. Americans don't even care about fixing America. Why? Well, let me tell you the reason why we're here. You have the 2024 election between the most presidential candidate in the history of all mankind, which is Kamala Harris, against a pedophile fascist known as Donald J. Trump, who is, in which I believe, is the work of the Antichrist, in which Jared Kushner is the will of the Antichrist, which, mind you, I don't know for sure who's the Antichrist. That's why God tells us to be vigilant and be sober. And to watch out, because the great deception is coming. Now, why did I say that Americans don't care about fixing America? Let me go back to what I was about to say. 77 million people were highly anticipating the 2024 elections when it was against Kamala Harris, a black woman who is the most presidential candidate in the history of mankind, as well as a white man who goes by Donald J. Trump. Now, within the presidential election, 77 million people. Now, let's put this in like a afterlife aspect. 77 million people saw an intersection. When they stood in the middle, they saw an intersection. One of which that leads to eternal life, where your taxpayers will go up as a business owner, morality, decency, kindness, fruit of the spirit, and taxing the rich people, helping the homeless, getting students out of debt, help them pay for their college. And then you have the other intersection where Donald Trump promotes rape, promotes terrorism, promotes fascism, promotes sexism, promotes feminism, and guess what 77 million people chose? You guessed it. Donald J. Trump. Now, why is that? Why did 77 million people chose Donald J. Trump? Again, Kitty Paquita, mind you, she is a Christian. She says she loves God. She said she has read the Bible from cover to cover, from Genesis to Revelation. But yet, she chose the white man in her silence. Same with Sped Noodles. Same with Luna. Same with all of these fake-ass wannabe Gen Z, Gen Alpha, and Gen X predator catchers. They thought that it was a good idea to join MAGA and say, Donald Trump is better for the economy. No, the fuck he was not. He was not better for the economy. He was better for Benito Mussolini, Hitler, and white supremacy. That's what he ran on. And 77 million people literally went to the white man because they couldn't stomach the black woman. And not only because they couldn't stomach the black woman, Not only they couldn't stomach the black woman, right? Let's put it in MAGA's perspective. Oh yeah, I'm gonna go to the voting booth. Shit! There's morality and decency on the other side. Fuck, man. Well, I don't know what to say, but I gotta vote for the white man. He must be good for the economy, and that's what 77 million of y'all chose. Out of 340 million Americans, only 80 million of y'all said, let me sacrifice my personal comfort for a stranger. Only 8 million? Really? Only 8 million? Why do you think I call out these fake-ass wannabe pred catchers? Why? Just like I called out Jiggyon on my last live stream. Mind you, in EDP 445's documentary, there was a time where the victim, Kayla, exposed Jiggyon of him encouraging a literal minor to text EDP 445. Now, what did I tell y'all? To not trust a predator catcher that says, ooh, I care about the children. I'm going to do what is best for the children. Yet, when they see a cosplayer doing their job, that's when they jump ship and they fucking crash out. Because that's not how vigilante works in their eyes. 77 million idiots said, let me vote for Trump, and they got him. It is literally just like in the book of Solomon. In the book of Saul. Solomon went up to God, asked God, can I have an earthly king? 77 million of y'all went to the voting booth, asked the voting booth, can I have Donald Trump as my earthly king? And when 2024 came, God gave y'all what y'all wanted. God sent Donald Trump to expose the moral rot within his church. You. Ephesians 5:11, have nothing with the works of iniquity, but rather expose them. Why do you think you don't see Kitty Paquita post on YouTube anymore? Because she got caught. She's a white supremacist. She never cared about any other neighbor. She cared about herself. That's why you see her make content of, predators and shit like that when she's a fucking Christian. She doesn't love her neighbor. She loves herself. See, here's the difference. As a person of faith, here's the difference between me and Kitty Paquita. Now, with Kitty Paquita, she doesn't love her neighbors. She will not sacrifice her personal comfort for a stranger. She will not do it. She will not make a video of her giving bread to the homeless. And that's why you don't see her on YouTube anymore. Because she got caught red-handed. Not only enabling somebody, but she also got caught, encouraging a minor to fucking text a predator. Same with the Jiggyon situation. When you become a multimillionaire, you are a piece of shit. End of story. That's it. That is literally it. Why do you think Kitty Paquita is on Rumble? Because she does not want to admit on YouTube that yes, she was using minors for her own personal gain to make it seem that the victim was in the right while the predator was in the wrong. But essentially, it's to turn it around. is to turn it around to make the victim look like the victim was in the wrong and the predator was in the right. That's why you don't see Kitty Paquita post on YouTube no more. Because Kitty Paquita voted for a rapist. You know, I called her out last live stream. I said, how you say you a Christian, right? And you making all these videos about predators, right? Right? People that you barely even know, right? Was your house redlined? I said this on last live stream ago. I said, was your house redlined? Were you called the N-word? Were you pulled over by a police officer? No, that's because you're white. And Donald Trump would rather have you in this country than migrant people. And you know what happened with Asmongold? Asmongold got banned on Twitch because he says no matter if it's migrant children or migrant families, I rather have ICE shoot them all. That's what Asmongold said. Asmongold did not apply Leviticus chapter 19, verse 33 when he first came to America. Because he is a full-blown Trump supporter. That's like, this is why Americans won't fix America itself. Because they're tired. And not only that they're tired, they just think, oh, an earthquake is just a normal day. Oh, the president is having a briefing. Oh, that's just a normal day. When y'all don't even see the fucking spiritual things that are happening in this world. The earthquakes, the solar eclipse, the lunar eclipse, wars, and rumors of war. All of these things are the beginning of the earth groaning in pain. You may not hear it, but I hear it. The earth is actually growing and groaning in pain. Because the earth itself is tired of all the sin, of all the hatred, of all the misogyny, of all the bigotry. What did Jesus say for us to do when we hurt our enemies? Do good to those that hurt you. Bless those that curse you. Love your enemies. That's what Jesus said. But do you see Katie Paquita doing that? No. Do you see Sped Noodles doing that? No. Do you see Luna doing that? No. Do you see Jamel doing that? Which is her boyfriend, by the way? No. Because they don't care. When they say they are about the children, they're basically saying, let me find a way to accuse somebody without getting to know them first, and then blame it on them by having a victim text the victimizer. And that's what all these Gen X, Gen Alpha, and Gen Zs, new predator catchers, as they call it, that's what they're doing now. They're encouraging minors to sext predators. Me personally, if I was a predator catcher, I would have done what the cosplayer in Thailand, Singapore would have done. And you know what's crazy? That guy, the cosplayer, is more Christian than all these fake-ass predator catchers. That Yuji Itadori cosplayer from Thailand, Singapore, is more Christian, is more Christ-like than all of you. Because at least he gets the job done. You all just sit there with your little screenshots and your little decoys and your little thingamajigs while a cosplayer gets it done. That's what's funny. And it's hilarious that some of y'all say, I care about the children. I am a predator catcher. I do this for 20, 30, 40, 60 years. But when you stand before God and when God asks you about Renee Good and Alex Preddy, you act like you had a shred of regret when you didn't even shed a single tear for these people. So that whole monologue about you saying that you're a protector of the innocent and caring about their children, you can shove that right up your ass. Because you never cared about children. You cared about yourself. See, there was a random Trump supporter around my neighborhood. And I went up to him and I asked him, why did you vote for Donald J. Trump? And mind you, he was wearing the Make America Great Again hat. And I told him, why did you vote for Donald Trump? And he said the reason why he voted for Trump is because he was better for the economy. That's when I gave him an old school lesson about actual history. Now, I told him, okay, let's roll with that. You voted for Trump because you thought he was better for the economy. Okay, let's look at every single Gen Z, Gen Alpha, and Gen X predator catcher that's out there, that's on YouTube, that's on Rumble, or anywhere else. Now, I want you to look at this video, and I showed him the video of the UG cosplayer giving belt to ass to a child predator at Thai, Singapore. And I said, why aren't these predators doing what this guy is doing? And then, this is the shocking part. He says that they only care about the content. And I said, oh, now you're catching on. So, when you vote for a rapist, you're basically saying, fuck morality, fuck decency. I only care about the content I make off of children. And that's exactly why that Trump supporter ran. He ran after I said that. Because it's the truth. These people who claim to be the heroes of the internet and want to go out their way and say, I've been doing this for 20, 30, 40, 60 years. And want to be Chris Hansen's and trying to one up Anonymous, they can't do shit. They say to you, I'm going to hack your account. They don't do it. They say to you, I'm going to pull up and beat your ass. They don't do it. Because they don't fucking care. Sorry to say, but the predator catchers that you be watching nowadays, when they say they're the protectors of the internet, when they say to you that they are, they're telling you without hiding behind a mask, hey, I'm a content creator. I am a protector of the innocent, which basically means I make content off of innocence. That's why I put in my status, do not be the price tag you wear around your neck. Be the worth you give to people. And now you see why Americans won't even care about fixing America. And when the midterms come, you cannot vote your way out of this. I declare and decree by the blood of the Lamb, and I will say this, if Donald Trump goes on the news and says, I don't care about the midterms, do you know what that means? The end of democracy? The end of morality and decency? And basically, Donald Trump is literally asking to either serve Trump and die at the hands of Israel, or you can live. But mind you, Fox News is Satan-controlled media. If you stem away from the Fuhrer, You are labeled as a terrorist. You are labeled as a criminal and a threat to the system. And they will hunt you down and kill you. I wonder, what did Jesus say? All right. They will offer you up into tribulation and kill you, and you will be hated by all nations for my name's sake. It's almost as if the Bible itself is Jesus talking to y'all. The solar eclipse of August 21st of 2017. The one that happened on April 8th of 2024. And the recent one on August 12th of 2026. Do y'all not understand what we are going through right now? We're in the end times. We're in the end times. Y'all don't see it and y'all think it's a normal day. But to me, I see it. I feel it. I smell it. I smell the end times. Wake up. Look at America right. Why do you think God drew an X on the United States of America? Why? Because that's implicating that God is going to rain down wrath on the United States. Because people have gone far too violent, far too vicious, far too implicated in their silence that they don't want to speak up. The Black Death, never spoken up. The Boston Tea Party, never spoken up. The American Revolution, never spoken up. The American Revolution 2.0 with now ICE, never spoken up. America doesn't care about its own country. They're devoid of life. They're devoid of critical thinking. See, when someone tells you, hey, I'm a predator catcher, I've been doing this for 20, 30, 40, 60 years. They're basically telling you, I've been making content off of children and profiting off of their suffering for 20, 30, 40, 60 years. Because they don't really care about the children. They care about themselves. As I said before, and I'm going to say it again, if you become a multi-millionaire or a multi-functioning millionaire, you are a piece of trash. You are a piece of shit. Point blank, period, end of conversation. No commentary needed. That's what this is. The reason why 77 million Americans voted for the white man is because they don't want to apply Leviticus chapter 19, verse 33 in their life. Now, MAGA, let me give you a direct definition of Leviticus chapter 19, verse 33, okay? For the foreigner, i.e., immigrant, that lives among you must be treated as if you were born among them. Love thy neighbor as thyself, for you yourselves were also born strangers out from the bondage of Egypt. So I'll leave you with this. First, they came for the immigrants, but Leviticus chapter 19, verse 33 didn't affect me, so I ignored the immigrants. Then they came for the transgenders, but Leviticus chapter 19, verse 33 didn't apply to me, so I ignored the transgenders. Then they came for the Jews, but Leviticus chapter 19, verse 33 didn't apply to me, so I ignored the Jews. Then they came for the Hindus, same thing, and Leviticus chapter 19, verse 33 didn't apply to me, so I ignored the Hindus. Then they came for the monks. Leviticus chapter 19, verse 33 didn't apply to me, so I ignored the monks. And then they came for Joshua, the son of Nun, and a direct correlation to the son of Nun. And they stoned me to death, and there was no one left to help me. That's where we're at, people. We're now, because right now, while Jesus is looking at us through his eyes, God the Father, who sent Jesus as God in the flesh, is cooking some heat in the kitchen right now. The days of Noah, and I'm going to say it out loud, yes, it was terrible. God wiped out almost half of civilization, but kept Noah and the animals and all that went in the ark. Why? Because God made a promise. I will not bring the flood. Because God himself lamented. He felt bad for creating us because of how violent, vicious, and disgusting we were in our sinful nature. So what did he do? He sent a promise. Because mind you, before God even sent his beloved son, we were all doomed for eternal separation from the Lord because of how vicious and violent we'd gotten during the times of the day of Noah. So what did God do after the days of Noah? God sent a promise, which was Jesus, born from Mary Magdalene's womb, who was God in the flesh, who came down and became the sacrificial lamb to die for all of us. To die for all of us. Because we ourselves deserved punishment. So Jesus took our place on the cross. But guess what? Americans don't even acknowledge that part. Now, Christianity is not religious psychosis. Christianity is not a religion. It is a relationship with Jesus. It is not religious psychosis. Whoever is telling you that, it is a lie straight from the bottomless pits of hell itself. Christianity is not religious psychosis. It is not religion. It is a relationship with Jesus. Now, mind you, I'm an apostolic, but I believe in Jesus for what he did for me. I believe in Jesus for what he did for you. I believe in Jesus for what he did for the Hindus. I believe in Jesus for what he did for every single person, no matter what race, gender, no matter what equality, no matter what ethnic background check, it doesn't matter. Jesus did it all for you. He died on that cross and took your punishment. So you wouldn't have to worry about separation. As long as you put your faith in Jesus, you are saved. Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through Christ. So, with that being said, I hope you have fun. I hope this helps reshape your mind a bit. And yeah, but like I said, during the midterms, if Donald Trump goes on Fox News and says that he does not care about the midterms, you are going to experience the end of not just democracy, but the end of morality and decency. Because Trump hates you. He hates every single person. He has defiled the Constitution. He has defiled the United States of America. He has made it clear that he is the Fuhrer. And should you dissent from the Fuhrer, you will be labeled as a terrorist and you will be shot by ICE or hunted down by ICE. Now, before I go, I'm going to do the socialist song. Ubatatira, ubella chato, Oh, bella ciao, ciao, la fatia. Oh, bella ciao, laissez passati mori. You know what? No, I'm gonna do it the slow version, the opera version. Uvasatia. Oh, bella ciao. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Oh, passatia, oh, bella ciao. Lereva sale moto. Uvasatia. O bella chato. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Pause for dramatic effect. Oh, passatia. Oh, bella ciao. Laissez va-t'en, laissez va-t'en, laissez va-t'en di mori. So yeah, wake up, America. Otherwise, the end of decency and morality will be at your door. Michelle Obama even warns this. If you think the darkness is not coming at your door, you are sadly mistaken. Anyways, to any of you MAGA, if you continue to support Donald Trump, it will be on you. And I'm saying it to every single person, every single predator catcher, every single one of y'all. If you continue to support Donald Trump and if you continue to support for what he does, the blood of the United States will be on your hands. Have a white day.